I've even seen videos where you've got this like robot doing dentistry on its own, all these different treatments.
AI has been in dentistry for the past 10 years.
What are some of the risks that people should, worry about?
A lifetime warranty, run for your life, that doesn't exist. Honestly, not saying this to promote the business, avoid where they sell you a set of veneers for 3,000 dirhams or 2,000 dirhams. I don't usually like to speak numbers. I'm not saying that only expensive clinics are good. If I did dentistry, I can always link that to media and business in so many ways. I will refer you to excellent dentists in Dubai, very reasonable prices.
How do you face challenges today?
Every challenge is an opportunity because you never see the same tooth twice. Open an Instagram page, become very famous, and then I become a successful dentist. This will knock you out in no time.
So I'm about to shoot an episode with Dr. Naji. Dr. Mo was on Forbes list and along with his brother went on to build the go-to dental clinic for celebrities in the UAE. And what I really like about this episode is that we're going to share strategies that it's not just for dentists, it's for anybody, any business owner, whether you're in business today or you're looking to start your own business and you want to become the go-to business in your market and not only cater to everybody else based on price. That's what most businesses do. They fight on price, they fight for the lowest segment of the market. But in this episode, we're going to show you how you can get the top 1% to come to you and get proven strategies to think outside the box so that you can provide value that nobody else in your marketplace is providing. So like and comment and share this episode. I'm looking forward to having you inside. Dr. Mo, as a friend, I'll call you Mo for the show. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
First question that we like to start with is, this show is about achieving your own freedom.
Yeah.
So the first question is, what does freedom mean to you?
Freedom is being able to do whatever you want at any time. And that doesn't necessarily mean being retired or not having work or a job. It means if for any reason you don't want to go to work today, then you'll have the freedom to do that. And I believe freedom and health, I always say that freedom and health are the two biggest treasures that we have as humans.
This episode is a bit special to me because, as you know, I started in the dental industry.
Yes.
So dentists kind of have like a special part of my heart.
Yes.
So I want to talk a bit about dentistry. I want to talk a bit about the dental business. But before I get into it, just kind of take us back a little bit about your story. I know you grew up similar to me with brothers. How many brothers total?
We are 5 brothers
Mashallah.
in total.
Yeah, so 5 for us as well.
Yeah.
So how was life growing up?
It was good. I'm the youngest out of all 5, and there's a huge age gap between me and the rest of them, which was interesting because I grew up having 5 fathers rather than brothers, and it was nice because you kind of live all kinds of different experiences without going through them. So I've seen their mistakes, I've seen their, their tips and tricks and things they were successful at. And I took a bit of each, and I'm very thankful for that. But overall, I mean, it was great growing up around my brothers and seeing everything they're doing.
Yeah, we're also 5, and also the youngest is Mo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you met.
I think I met Mo. Yeah.
So, were you guys close? Or did you see them? I know you mentioned you grew up with 5 brothers, but do you see them also like as mentors, people that you look up to, and they kind of set the tone for you? Because I know, as an entrepreneur, you've always been a competitive person. So is that where it kind of stemmed from?
See, there's a good and a bad thing about being that young in a family, is that you always feel like you're underachieving, which is not right, because you always look like, okay, my brothers did this, they have this, why don't I have this? And usually brothers are supposed to be equals at home, and that was never the case. In my case, it was normal because there's like 15 years age gap between me and the youngest. So it kind of always put me under pressure that I need to get this faster, I need to achieve this faster, focusing on that. And then it was very hectic, very stressful, and if you ask me if I would go back in the days, I wouldn't do that to myself. But now I look back and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it came to my benefit. I've done so much. I've achieved a lot of things at a young age. I went through a lot of trouble also at a young age. But at least, I made it at a time where it wouldn't be very harmful. The consequences were manageable.
A lot of kids growing up wanted to be a football player, basketball player, maybe even a pilot, What did you want to be growing up, and how did you get into the dental field?
I wanted to work in media. I wanted to do something media related, and I remember the year where I was graduating from high school. I interned at this company for for 3 months, and in 3 months I made a total of $1,000 in 3 months. But then back then, it was still like the global crisis was going on. Everything was very bad and stuff. And that's when clinics and hospitals started doing better, hospitals and restaurants. And then I realized, I was like, you know what? As a kid at that age, you wouldn't know that this is just for now because of the current situation of the market. I was like, you know what? This is very bad. I'm not getting any clients. It was an agency. And I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And then I went, looked around in the family, and my brother, who was a dentist already, was doing well. I was like, you know what? Let me check that out. Apart from the fact that I already grew up in the clinic, because my brother started the clinic when I was 5 years old, and I was always around, just playing around, helping him do things, cleaner, the clinic after work. So I was very familiar with the place. And then I was like, you know what? If I'm going to take a choice, it has to be the broader one. What does that mean? If I did media or business, I would have never became a dentist. But if I did dentistry, I can always link that to media and business in so many ways. I did it and I don't regret it. It's been good.
One of the things about achieving freedom is that you have to be comfortable with shifting.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people could have started with media, whether they liked it or not. They could have just said, well, listen, I've already been invested in this.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you find change? Do you find change as something where, it's a challenge, or do you see it as a new opportunity?
No, I think change is a must. I mean, every person, if you want to succeed, you need to be very well trained and very strong in situations where you need to change. You need to adapt with what's going on. So I haven't had that major shift in my career, but I had to catch up with the changes happening in the industry itself,
And changing to dentistry, I'm assuming that was must have been challenging. In terms of the degree, going, learning and taking courses, the whole process.
The whole process is you're learning a new language, because that's what I always say. Medicine is a language. You just need to know the terms and every word. What does it mean? Where is it located? And what it does. So it was learning a new language, and it was very tough in a way. The whole vibe, the atmosphere of, because if you're a person that grew up wanting to grow and work in something related to media or business, all that, you have a totally different vision to what you're going to have in med school. So the first couple of years was like a slap on the face. I was like, okay, well, I'm not sure this is what I signed up for. But I'm a kind of person that ever since I was a child, if I got into something, I'm not quitting. So what I do is I make it all the way. And then if I'm not satisfied, I leave it. But I don't like to sit back at home and think, what if? So I made it through, but then I realized afterwards that, as tough as it was worth it.
What did you learn about yourself in that journey? Because if I would imagine if I decided to change a career, I got punched in the face a few times, and I'm sure you had a moment where you're like, was this even the right decision? And then you still continued through, because obviously a lot of people, should I say most people, don't have the discipline, don't have the tenacity to just continue on things. But what did you learn about yourself about, just finalizing that journey and finally achieving that goal?
I just discovered a new level of patience and strength in me. Like, if we're speaking, academic years, education years, the pressure I was put under and the things I did to actually make it happen, I never thought I would be able to do that. Like, it was, and I'm very thankful for that, because it was a process of expanding my capabilities and my brain rather than just gaining knowledge. because after that, whatever you face is doable, even if it's in something different. You know, like you always think, if I did it with that thing, I can always achieve it with this thing. So I like the expansion that happened.
One reason I asked that question is I remember when I was in school, I signed up for a class because it said HTML. I thought it was going to be a fun class where I had to maybe just play around with the computer. I didn't really understand the full context. And here's the other thing. I had to pass this class in order for me to be eligible to play college soccer. And if you know the States, sports and college are very important
linked,
things.
Yes.
And to be quite honest, 99% of the reason I was going to college was for soccer. And I remember, Mo, when I looked at the course and actually looked at, HTML, and I had to code. And at the time, this was like, 2001. We don't know what coding is. So for me, I literally thought that I was going to fail this class. And I even went to the teacher and said, look, my entire career is depending on this. Please give me a break. And she's like, listen, if you want to play soccer, football as we call it here, you need to pass this class and don't ever come back in my class, with that pity. So I had to be honest with myself. I'm like, listen, you have to figure out a way.
Anyway. I remember, like, I've been put in certain situations. I remember once I had this exam and that's it. Like, it was this subject that I could not understand. I could not get the whole semester. I'm like, there's no way I'm not going to make it through this. And something kicked in literally 3 days before the final exam. I'm like, if I'm failing, I'm going to have to go through this again. I am not failing. And I literally pulled an all-nighter the day before the exam, where I had a sheet that I had to memorize word by word, comma by comma, everything on it. And I starved. I was very hungry, but then I couldn't eat because if I ate, I'm going to sleep. That's me. I opened the fridge, and I remember my mom had some home-cooked food, and I had literally frozen rice with something else she had cooked. It was frozen food, just to put something in my stomach. And then that night, I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, is this okay? Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I supposed to be going through this? But then, it was one of those memories that you have. And I mean, if you look at the entire world, who doesn't have those moments? Everybody goes through it.
Absolutely. I stayed up the whole night as well, submitted.
And
I didn't sleep. I'm like, I'm going to wait till I get the grade. She sent back. I don't want to brag, but I got a C, which was enough to pass. That's all I needed.
Make it through.
But here's the thing. Every time since, wherever I'm faced with a new challenge, and my brain tells me, oh, you're not going to be able to do it. All the doubt comes in, fears. I always go back to that moment. I'm like, listen, remember that time where you felt like you weren't going to achieve this, but you did it. And the reason I ask that is that a lot of people already have similar stories to that, right? They have achieved something much greater than the thing they're struggling with right now. And for whatever reason, they let new challenges stop them, not knowing that they've already crushed it before. In your life, in your career, how do you face challenges today? Is it is it something you look forward to? Is it something that you do despite the fear? But what's your
No, I mean, might sound cliche, but every challenge is an opportunity in a way or another. It always opens up doors. You discover more about yourself. But in our job, challenges becomes part of your daily life. Because you never see the same tooth twice. Literally, like I'm talking on a very small scale. A lot of times, like sometimes you get this very complicated case where you need to work on a tooth that's literally like next to the tonsils. you can barely see it. And then you would go like, part of your brain would go like, okay, no, this is not treatable. We need to extract the tooth, for example. And then you remember, oh no, that patient had it worse and I got it done. So anyway or another, half an hour later, it's done. So it's just part of our daily routine. And then at one point, it's very rare where you go like, okay, no, I cannot do that.
I've actually seen some of the pictures you posted on Instagram. I'm like, there's no way this is the same person based on the challenges and then afterwards. Okay. Now, I want to talk just a little bit about the importance of oral health.
Yeah.
Right. I want to get more into the business side of it, but I see people talk about all types of health, mental health, gut health, et cetera, but I don't think oral health really gets the attention that it deserves. Can you just tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that?
Oral health in terms of public awareness, probably in our region, it's true, it's not getting the best attention. If you go to Europe, not all of Europe, certain countries, Scandinavia, let's say, they have very high public awareness from childhood about, dental care, oral health, brushing your teeth, follow-up visits to the dentist. That's why dental clinics don't do very well over there. They don't need them. They all have good teeth. And this part of the world, unfortunately, it can be better, and it is much better than before. But we don't have it. It's not part of the culture. Like for us, it's just, brush at night and go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I think there is room for improvement when it comes to that. And generally, recently I've been seeing here in the UAE, they do have a lot of like governmental programs of awareness, and like they've been reaching out to schools and arranging. I was actually participating in a few where they're trying to improve that, and it's been good bit by bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now here's something that's always been in the back of my mind, right? I told you I started working with dentists.
Yeah.
This show is about freedom.
Yes.
And in my career working with a lot of different fields, I've noticed that the one industry, now just to give for context, I was, in the States, so mostly in the US market, even though we did a lot of business in the UK as well. Out of most of the, professionals I've worked with, I felt like dentists had the most, people that just didn't experience freedom. So you have a dentist who went to school for 8 years, opened up a dental practice, for one reason or another, it wasn't what the outcome that he or she expected. Now they felt trapped. And year after year, they struggled with running the business side, they struggled with dealing with patients, they struggled with managing, their team, their staff. You, on the other hand, you found a way to make it work. Obviously, you have one of the most successful practices here.
Thank you.
What do you think that most of these dentists are missing that allowed them or put them in that situation?
Look, we can speak about this for hours, to be honest. I don't have a short answer to it. But it's not about what they're missing. Maybe it's about focusing on one thing rather than being a Superman dentist. We call it Superman dentist in the clinic, the guy that does everything.
Yeah.
What people are not aware of, and I always speak about that on my social media, is that dentistry today is like medicine. It's like there are different specialties. There's an endodontist, prosthodontist, periodontist, etc. There's so many specialties. So I would always recommend that focus on one thing, because most of those dentists, they graduate with a GP degree, which means they can do everything generally, and they try to do so, and that's where they fail, because you cannot. Even if you don't get the actual degree, let's say you just want to stay as a GP, take courses in a certain thing, focus on perfecting those fillings, or focus on, making proper veneers, or doing this root canal treatment properly, rather than trying to just get as many patients as you can and just do everything that you get, because there's no way that you can perfect all of them. And with that comes, let's say not the best quality of work, which leads you to doing a lot of work that patients are not happy with. So you're just wasting your energy, wasting your time. Patients are not happy. Bit by bit, you're just crashing down. So for us in our practice, we always believe in specialists. Each one of us does only one thing. And again, if you're not in a multidisciplinary practice, then just focus on one thing by yourself and just tell yourself that I want to be great at this and grow a reputation with this thing only.
Now, when you open up a practice, you're technically a business owner.
Yeah.
But most dentists didn't go to school to learn business. And I don't know, I think most clinics don't, most institutes don't teach that.
Thank you. Yes.
So how are you able to go, from being a dentist to automatic? Now, you're running a practice. How are you able to manage
Please, if we have any deans listening here today, if we have anyone in the academic dental schools, please find a solution for that. It just doesn't make sense. We study for like 6, 7 years, like, I'm sorry, there's at least 10 courses that we studied in dentistry that we really do not need. Not one of them is proper business classes. And I see it, and I feel it sometimes personally, because I did not go to business school. Like, I grew my business skills by myself. I attended courses. I did a diploma in healthcare management and administration. A lot of people are getting affected by that because all they know is if they open up a practice, their mindset is only about here, the oral cavity, like what's the best filling that I can do, or what's the latest machine that I can use to drill this tooth. That's excellent. By the way, that is factor number one to success. Is perfecting the actual work, your hand skills. But then that's 20% of the job. There's so much more behind that. There's that stubborn employee that does not want to come on time. There's social media that's not targeting the right audience. There's an angry patient. There's all sorts of scenarios that happen on a daily basis. So if you're not trying to improve yourself in that department, it's going to take you down. But one good thing about it, the strong manages to survive, because a lot of those come with experience. Even with business school, they don't teach you those things.
My mentor, his name is Dr. Tom Orant. So he was a dentist, and he was a struggling dentist. Went to Tufts, one of the top students. He thought, as you mentioned, open up a practice and patients will be a path to your door, as he used to always say. That never happened. And one thing he said is he used to watch some of the students in his class, even especially the ones on the bottom of the list, who actually had more successful practices. And literally he was about to lose his practice until he kind of, decided on his own to learn business, to learn marketing, to learn psychology, to learn persuasion, hiring, all the things that you need to build a successful practice. And then he was able to turn, his practice around. Now, for you, is this something that, I know you're working with your brother, is this something that you guys went into open up a practice with that in mind? Hey, we also need to learn how to run a business, or is this just something that you learned based on necessity?
No, actually, when my brother he's gifted with that. Some people are just like that. We got this from our grandfather as well, the street smart gene. That's something that you can't really learn, but it's not everything, of course. A lot of it came with experience, and we're talking about a successful practice now that's almost 27 years old. So you can only imagine what we learned in the process, what happened. So that on its own is much more than a PhD, So it's a lot of things. I mean, for me personally, that I came at a later stage. I did my studies. I got degrees in that. So I think mine is a bit more academic than my brother's, but his definitely beats mine, because experience above everything at the end of the day.
What do you think is, if I was to open up a practice today in a saturated market, as you know, I mean, there's literally like 50 practices down from where you are, right?
Yeah.
What would you say is the most important things for me to do to stand out?
Step number one, perfect what you're doing. Because I always say this, no matter how fancy your clinic is, how many followers you have on Instagram, how nice your car is, at the end of the day, the patient is coming for that filling or for that veneer. If he walks out not feeling comfortable, feeling pain with infections, then everything else you have is useless. So first thing is make sure that you are providing the best service. Okay, but that's not, again, that doesn't complete the package. With the current world we're living in, you need to keep up with the evolution of the latest technologies, marketing yourself properly, and having the back of the house, as they say, as neat as front of the house, having everything in place. Because a lot of organizations may seem very well structured from the outside, but if you go inside, it's a chaos. To start off, a lot of people must face that, but just make sure to get it together as soon as possible, because in our work, it will fire back eventually in a way or another, especially if you're going to speak, legal work, your documents. I'm sure you're familiar with documentation is a huge part of our work, the patient records that we write down. So it's all of these together combined. And as you said, it is a very saturated market. So you need to find a way also to present yourself in a different way that can attract the market that's surrounding you.
Yeah.
The mentality in the States is not the mentality in Dubai.
Yeah.
And in the UK is not the same. So you just need to make sure that who's your targeted audience and focus on that, because I've seen so many successful dentists in the UK come to Dubai and they couldn't make it, and vice versa as well, because it's a different culture that they do not pay attention to. And this could literally play a role from, I don't know, the perfume that you're wearing up to the dental chair that you're buying for your clinic. So, yeah.
One of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make is that they get stuck in the business that they're in, right? So the dentists think he's only or she's only in the dental business. The guy who making a restaurant, he thinks or she thinks that they're only in the food making business. But if they're able to expand their mind, they're obviously going to be able to expand their vision and be able to attract and expand a lot bigger. So if I look at your clinic, I remember it was one of the first clinics I went to when I came to Dubai. Yes, you are in the dental business, but I would also say you're in the hospitality business.
Yeah.
Right? And I can even go on and on. How did this come about?
Okay, I don't usually like to speak numbers, but when a patient comes for a full set of veneers, on average, let's say they're paying somewhere between 80 to 100K, roughly. And I always say this to each and every employee that joins us in the clinic. I tell them, how much is the presidential suite or the royal suite currently in Burj Al Arab, the one on top? It's around 40K a night. We're more expensive than Burj Al Arab. So I will not allow it that the patient walks in here and gets a service less than what he's getting in Burj Al Arab. It's just not fair. The man is paying for it. So the least you can do is provide that to him. And for me, it's not just about getting the teeth straight or white. I mean, you can go to Colombia, get them done for half price, even less. I call it the Dubai experience. I appreciate this city. I love everything that it's presenting to the world, and we're a part of it. So everyone is coming, because 53% of our patients come from abroad. So they're coming for the Dubai experience. I want to present the same level in my practice. It's about the car that picks them up from the hotel, brings them to my clinic. When they go in, the same smell that they smell in the car, they have to smell it in the reception. The same presentation they have on the screens in the car are the same presentations they have on the screens in the clinic. The way the receptionist walks in and greets them, palms up, the tone of their voice, how the coffee is being presented with a certain type of cup placed at a certain distance from his table. The companion of the patient is very important, because usually dentists are not aware. The person you take with you to the doctor is usually the closest person to you, whether because you feel safe with them or you care about their opinion, because a lot of them would ask, how do you like my teeth now? So that person is very important. And if you want to make the patient happy, you have to make that person happy as well. So even that person, we have a special training for our staff, how to deal with him, how to greet them, how to take them into the room. When the patient is getting treated, that person is getting bored for an hour or two. So you need to make sure he constantly has his coffee, an iPad, his internet connection is going, if he needs to go outside for a smoke or anything. So everything is calculated by the inch to create that experience. So yeah, it's just us and Burj Al Arab. We need to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, I've just counted about 20 to 25 things that you just mentioned, and I'm sure there's probably another 25 things that you didn't get time to get into that you detail out. And most other dentists, and I keep using dentists, but I
Yeah.
really, this applies to every business,
It's
right?
any business,
Any business.
exactly.
It's the same. It's the same.
Yeah,
They're thinking about come in, consultation, get them to the chair, let's do the work.
No.
So why is it that business owners, dentists,
Yeah.
they don't understand they're in the human business, human relationship business, and they just focus more on just the transaction?
It's just like any other industry, man. You have people who are, looking to excel, and others who are looking to make it day to day. Others who just want to make the money. They want to milk the cow in any way possible. So it's about what you want. We are building something that's sustainable, something that we want it to last for generations. We want to leave like a mark in the industry in a way or another. We're not probably maybe we're not there yet for our vision, but it takes a lot of time, and it's about what you want. I mean, nothing we did that is impossible.
Yeah.
I give a course. I teach, like I have a 3 hours session about just those small details. Literally, like I gave my last lecture was in NSU in Miami, and I had one of the professors attending apart from the students. And I was teaching about where to spray the perfume as a dentist. I don't care about your neck. Spray here, this area. Because when you're working, that's what the patient smells. And then he smiled. He's like, I wish, he's like, I don't know, 50, 60 years old. He's like, I wish back in the days we had those courses. I was like, no, those courses never existed. Those come out of experience, So it's just whether you want to be special or not, I guess. Yeah.
I want to talk from as a patient perspective.
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram.
Yeah.
And most of the ads that I see is, as you mentioned earlier, is, get a veneer, buy one veneer, get the rest of the set for free. And it could be confusing, right?
Yeah.
But you don't see, the clinics that are a bit on the higher end of the price, marketing their services the same way. So as a patient, how do you know, what is valuable and what is not when you're literally consumed with all these ads on social media today?
Okay. First of all, you can tell, like from the quality of the page, of the clinic, of what's going on. If you're on social media, any person can tell the difference between a quality business and, they call it affordable, but I think it's worse than that. Second thing is anyone that grants you a lifetime warranty, just, run for your life. That doesn't exist. Yeah. Anything that is, too good to be true in terms of price, also avoid it. Because it doesn't make sense. Like, honestly, I've received those offers. Like, I get those email shots, and I look at them, I'm like, how? Like, his price is much lower, like probably even less than 1/3 of my cost. It just doesn't make sense. I had to Google some material the other day looking at, like, is there something cheaper than what they're providing? How are they doing that? I don't know what they're doing, man. But the thing is, honestly, not saying this to promote the business, don't come to me. Just please avoid those places where they sell you a set of veneers for 3,000 dirhams or 2,000 dirhams, 20 teeth for 3,000 dirhams, because I've seen patients almost weekly walk into me because of that treatment.
What are some of the risks that people should worry about other than the financial aspect?
Okay, first of all, they're going to drill your teeth. Well, we all drill teeth, but they're going to do it excessively to an extent where you might eventually lose the tooth. The material is horrible, and you're going to start realizing that your gum is getting infected, your gum is constantly bleeding, some mobility will start to happen in the teeth, and the breath, horrible breath. That's like the main complaint I usually get. And all of this is because of the material they're using. It's not like some of them, I believe they are not biocompatible. They're not meant to be placed in the human body. So For that, I would say, you would invest in a nice branded bag or a nice car. This is your health. I think this is a priority. So I think it's worth investing in that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can, even if you can't afford a branded bag, you can buy a cheap one. Worst thing is going to happen is, it's going to fall apart at some point.
No, your health is
But your
different.
health is different.
Yeah.
I mean, you go cheap on your health, it might not be able to reverse it.
And by the way, I'm not saying that only expensive clinics are good. No. Reach out to me. I will refer you to excellent dentists in Dubai who charge very reasonable prices, and they have excellent work. They just have the ethics.
Mo, I have another question in terms of the way you guys built your practice. I believe to really build a successful business, there is certain levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is authority.
Mm-hmm.
This means like, you've achieved your peers' respect and people know you and they like you.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is celebrity authority, where I believe is the highest level that a business can go. And looking at your clinic today, Liberty Dental Clinic, I believe it's at that level. I mean, most of your patients, a lot of your patients are some of the top celebrities in the region.
Yeah.
How were you able, I know you work with your brother closely, how were you able to position yourself, not just any clinic, but the go-to clinic in the marketplace? And what strategies can not only dentists, but other businesses can model so that they too can have a similar feel to them?
Very similar to my previous answer about specializing, focusing on getting the perfect work done first, and then focusing on media and the celebrities, and make sure you follow the right sequence of that, because unfortunately I sit with a lot of fresh graduates, and the plan is to open an Instagram page, become very famous, and then I become a successful dentist. This will knock you out in no time. You don't have a base to stand on. So first of all, patience, it's going to take time. It's not easy. Second of all, you become a good dentist. You grow your reputation. Celebrities walk in. Your social media grows. Or vice versa. Your social media grows and celebrities walk in. But the other way around is the best way to failure. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are doing that.
Do you think it's important for dentists to be on social media?
Of course. Of course. Anyone that says elsewise is in denial. Usually the older generation would deny it because, and I have all respect, because back in the days, I don't know where you grew up, but here we all knew like one dentist, one ophthalmologist, and there was like 3-4 doctors in town that everyone knew. So, my tooth is hurting, go to this dentist. Everyone knows that. So, social media wasn't needed, even if it was there. But now, I don't think there's any other way that's as effective.
Does it matter the platform? Some dentists or some business owners might not like being on camera, for example. So, does it matter if they're on X, LinkedIn, YouTube?
Yeah, it does, because dentistry is very visual. And that's why probably they're the most to spread on social media. If you notice, compared to other specialties in medicine, dentists are all over the place, because their work is very visual and their work is very easy to promote. So, for example, if you have a surgeon who did an open heart surgery, he cannot show you before and after. It's the same patient. But for us, we can. So that's why you find a lot of them on social media, and that's why it's very important to show your cases. And to be honest, nowadays, I think, not for us, but I see a lot of clinics who are actually hiring based on the amount of followers, but based on the cases that you've worked and the photos that you've kept in your record.
Mo, I want to talk to you about team building.
Yeah.
I know, for any business to succeed, you can have a great vision as an owner, but mostly it's your team that executes that vision. How do you go about building a great team?
You need to stay on top of it, unfortunately. One of the biggest weaknesses in business in general is where you feel like, a lot of people might not like this, but it's the truth, where you feel like there's one person that is irreplaceable. Then eventually things will start moving in a very, I don't know, a very personal way. You know, like different controls will start functioning in the business. That's why, for me, every person is very important as an individual, as a human, as a person. Like, this is family, we take care of them. But at the end of the day, we are all going by the guidelines manual. So that's one of the first thing I achieved personally as soon as I came into the practice, is I put my head down for 3 years building a guidelines manual composed of almost 600 something pages. So you're a new receptionist today here. Here, read from page 112 to 122. Next day, you're ready to execute. You're a new endodontist. Okay, this is the material we use. Okay, we respect what you learned. We respect your way, but this is the material we use. And this is the method we believe in based on this academic research from XYZ University. And that's how we do it. So everyone should have the respect, but the business should not depend on one person in a way that things will not run without this person. And this includes me. My job is in that guideline manual. If I'm sick, if I leave the country, if anything happens, they can simply open up this manual, read it. Next day, Dr. Mohammed is covered. He's good.
So you've got systems, you've got operations
Yeah.
that no matter who is running them, like a McDonald's, doesn't
Exactly.
matter who's
Exactly.
running a McDonald's.
Exactly, and that's what we're promoting now. We're actually just established the world's first international dental accreditation. So we were the first dental practice in the Middle East and North Africa to achieve an international accreditation, which is the ACHS. It's Australian. It's like the JCI, but Australian, because JCI did not have the dental department yet. Once we got that done, I'm like, okay, this is amazing. It was an eye-opener because by the end, because they ask you to build this manual. By the end of it, I'm like, wow, like we're a different place now. But then I realized in the dental department, we are very powerful. And, thanks to the experience, thanks to the years, and to Dubai Health Authority as well, which also has a lot of requirements that we had to meet. So we realized that we can build something that's even stronger, and that's where we built the Liberty Dental Accreditation, which we got accredited recently from ESQA. ESQA is the higher body that accredits accreditation bodies internationally. And now we're accrediting clinics around the world, and it's an amazing business because it's not just about selling your brand, but also organizing the industry in many ways and kind of summarizing your 27 years in a manual that can be applied over a year. So I think this structure is the way to go for any business. That's how McDonald's made it.
Yeah, no, and I love that because, see, a lot of people think when they start the business, they're gonna have freedom, and they don't realize that what they're literally building is just a job that they own, right? Because if they're not in the office, nobody's doing the work the way they expect it. If they're not managing the team isn't doing anything. If they don't have a process of exactly how to get things done, every time a new person comes in, they have to train them over and over and again, same thing. So they're never moving forward. But when you can say to yourself, look, I can take a 2-week vacation and sleep like a baby because I know my practice or my business is running because there are systems, there are operations, only then you can actually say that you have freedom.
Yes, but as an entrepreneur in this industry, or anyone who's starting up, I mean, even for us till now, with everything that I just said, you still need to be there, eventually. Why? Because there's that 0.5% of problems or issues that is not mentioned in the manual. And that's where you have to come in. So I don't think any person who's running a business can just walk away.
No, well, of course, they can't walk it, but you at least deserve a comfortable
Of course,
vacation once in
vacations,
a while and go
You know,
away.
but some people have have this picture that, you know, oh, I have a running business that I can just take a year off and like still make the same amount of money and all that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
I mean, maybe if you invest in businesses, yes,
Yes.
but running your own business is something else.
Yeah, I think, look, there's a price to pay for everything, right?
Of course.
And for you to have this freedom, as you mentioned, you had to build this massive manual. I'm sure it took a lot of time. I'm sure it took a lot of money. I'm sure it took a lot of energy, a lot of sleepless nights.
A lot of losses, by the way.
Yeah.
Not just gains.
Because you had to try all these methods, not like
yeah, and we lost people.
yeah, because they didn't like it.
Unfortunately, very special, hardworking people who are very good at what they do. But that's one more thing. Not everyone is willing to adapt. Not everyone is willing to change.
Yeah.
See, the first thing you face in such scenarios is resistance. You know, the curve of any change that happens in any organization. Resistance is number one, and that's where you lose a lot of people. And it's unfortunate, but if you are looking to build something for the long term,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Okay, so I have an interesting question for you. I'm sure you've seen the AI trend sweep over,
Take over the
take
world.
over the world in the last several year and a half or 2 years, and there's a lot of talk that obviously is going to have a major impact in dentistry. I've even seen videos where you've got this like robot, doing
Yes.
dentistry on its own, all
Yeah.
these different treatments. How do you think this is going to impact the dental world?
By the way, AI has been in dentistry for the past 10 years.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe not like what it's going to be, but it's been there because, for example, we don't take impressions much. The putty we put in the mouth that people gag with. Now there's 3D scanners. This 3D scanner, if you want to construct a crown, it can like kind of give you an initial design where you just need to print it out based on the bite of the patient. So everything is kind of ready for you. So it's been there. I think it's going to go to very high levels. I think it's going to not take over. You will still need the dentist there for the human factor, but it will take a huge part, but it will not replace the dentist.
Okay.
Yeah, it will make our lives easier.
So it'll bring more efficiency. It will bring more
Yes.
support. Is not act as a threat to the industry.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to affect the business in terms of losing jobs and like we won't need dentists anymore. No. In fact, it might actually make dentistry more of a fun job rather than just a hectic one as it is now.
Yeah. You've also been involved in the NFT world.
Yes.
Just tell us about that. It's just
Okay, so initially, as we all know now, NFT is dying off. Not dying off. I mean, it's just one of those slopes downwards, just like what happened to crypto and Bitcoin in 2014, I think, 13. So for me, I created the world's first 3D dental NFT. And the concept of NFTs, I always explained, it's not just about this drawing that you're buying. It's about the community that you're going to become a part of. So let's say Nido is a singer who just started his career and he doesn't have much connections. There's this NFT created by this big artist. It has a limited space to only, for example, 1,000 owners or 500 owners. Once you buy that NFT, you will have access to that community where they're all artists. You can build connections. You can work with others. So it was a great way for people to find the right place to be, to grow, to promote, to whatever it is they're looking for. And nobody did that for dentistry. And I started it. I created the Dental Holiday, we called it, the first 3D dental NFT. And the concept behind it was to benefit students, patients, and dentists. So students, they were going to have access to exclusive courses with certain renowned dentists around the world. Patients, we were speaking to insurance companies to give those NFT owners special offers on dental treatments in multiple clinics. And to the dentist, we spoke with a couple of companies such as Toothpick, which is like the Amazon of the dental market now, to provide those NFT holders special prices on any equipment they buy from them. So it was like a holistic approach for the industry, for anyone that's carrying that. But if you heard me saying, I said we were. Everything is on hold now, unfortunately, because of the huge crash that happened, and that's out of anyone's control. I mean, it was a generalized thing. We've seen NFTs that were priced at almost $500,000. They're being sold now for $2,000, $3,000, which is crazy.
Welcome to the crypto world.
Oh, yes. I mean, we did not shut it down. It's still there on hold because I believe those things go up and down.
Absolutely.
I've seen it in crypto. I was one of those people. I made it early in crypto and I witnessed that crash. Yeah. And it came up back again. So yeah, we're just going to sit back and wait.
5 years from now,
yes.
If we're having a conversation, how would you have grown as an entrepreneur, as a person?
I'm very thankful for where I got to today in terms of, as a clinician in dentistry. I think I want to keep going, get deeper into that, grow my personal team also more into orthodontics because I'm specialized in orthodontics. But apart from that, I'm also looking to grow in the business side of oral health. Which I just announced last week with Forbes. So I had an interview, and in about 2 weeks, I'll be launching my first dental care product, which will be found in pharmacies and petrol stations for now, and Amazon, of course. It's called Naji, and I will not tell you what it is exactly, but you will be one of the first people to receive a package very soon. So hopefully in 5 years, I'm looking to grow the Naji brand. We're starting off with one product now. And I want to get into, bigger things in terms of, teeth whitening, oral hygiene, all that, more of the product side of dentistry.
Yeah. Since we're limited on time,
yes.
I have 2 more questions.
Yes.
I see you've done quite some work in the youth and development side.
Yes.
So tell me, why is that, such an important initiative for you?
Because I struggled with that, because no one took me seriously. I was always that, whether at home, that kid that's younger than everyone else. And as a dentist, unfortunately, most industries, they don't take the beardless guy seriously. It's unless you have the gray hair, which I have a lot of now, so that's fine. Unless you have, the long-term experience and the age, a lot of people will not take you seriously, which I understand in an industry like mine. I mean, if you have your child, you're walking into a practice, you have that young, fit kid or an old man with a lot of experience, of course, you'll take your son to the experienced one. But apart from dentistry, I've been trying to raise awareness about the world is changing. What was useful 20 years ago is not useful anymore now. So whatever experience, not in everything, but a lot of experience that you gained 20 years ago is kind of useless now. The strength you gained from that experience is very well appreciated, and it gives you, a higher rank in whatever you're doing in comparison to others. But there's a lot of things where you need the younger generation one. And I speak about this to the public to pay attention to the younger ones, because they are achieving things that you cannot imagine. And unfortunately, in the West, they're very aware of that. They've invested in the younger ones in so many ways that if you see now, like, for example, even in crypto, not the best example, but Sam, for example, achieved a lot at a very young age. Mark Zuckerberg, all of those kids, they started off at like a very young age, even artists. So to the public, I tell them, pay attention to those kids. They have something to say. And to the younger ones, it's okay. Don't let it affect you. They will not take it seriously, but you are capable of much more than the way they look at you.
Absolutely.
A lot of them have this potential, but they always feel like, they told me to sit back and wait. They told me my cousin couldn't do it. My brother couldn't achieve it. My neighbor tried and failed. So maybe I'm just going to sit back and just wait for the right time. No, I mean,
now's the time.
Now is the time,
Absolutely. Last question. Somebody
Yes.
watching this now
Yes.
and they want to achieve their own freedom.
Yes.
What advice would you give them?
In dentistry.
No, in life, it can be dentistry, it can be as an entrepreneur, but just something that allowed you to, find your own path and pursue your freedom, something that would also help them.
I would say the harder you work, the luckier you get. If usually just stay out there, keep an eye on everything. Don't sit back. Hard work is one of the biggest factors. And trust the journey. Failures could be the biggest blessings to earn in life sometimes, because I personally, the reason behind two major successes I have in my life was because of a failure I had before. It literally guided me. Like, if I did not fail in this thing, I wasn't going to go that way. So trust the journey and be thankful to the bad days more than the good days.
Such a great advice.
Thank you.
Dr. Mo, thank you so much for being on this episode. Very impressive to see how many things you've already accomplished at such a young age, and
Thank you.
looking forward to watching you achieve a lot more.
Thank you for having me.
pleasure.
Thank you for this amazing show, and finally someone with the experience and someone who has been in our industry to speak about it properly. So I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, my man.
My brother, good to see you.